Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Madlet Musings podcast with Jaime Jo Wright. And today I have with me someone you may not know, and that is okay because we're going to talk about that today. But her name is Kendall Hoxsey, author Kendall Hoxsey, and she comes from sunny California, which is not so sunny today.
No.
I saw the pouring rain behind you. It's great.
Oh, we've gotten more than 10 inches. It's been wonderful.
Oh, that's awesome for California. You guys need that really bad.
Yeah, we do.
Really bad. When does fire season start out there?
Ugh. It feels like earlier and earlier each year.
I was gonna
I'd
say.
say July through maybe November.
Okay.
Depends.
All right. So we're not in danger zone yet, but I suppose all the water saturation is helpful for the future.
It is. And, snowpack and reservoirs are getting
Yeah.
filled. I mean, obviously, there's some terrible flash flooding going on, so I don't want to ignore
Well,
that. But it is so good. So we're so green right now, which usually we can get very brown.
green is good. We're very white here in Wisconsin. So if all that melts, it's very brown, but for other reasons. So,
Yes.
well, it's great to have you here, Kendall. So, just to give people listening a little bit of your background, you are an aspiring author.
Mm-hmm.
And you have been a part of some of my Madlet mentoring workshops and some other workshops throughout the United States, and have really been pursuing this thing we call writing. Yeah.
This writer's life, yes.
Yes, the writer's life. So here at Madlet Musings, we interview and we chat about life with a lot of different authors. And I was so excited when you were like, I'll be on your podcast. I'm like, yes, because there's a lot of people who want to be writers, who are avid readers, and they want to go on that journey. So tell us a little bit about just like, why did you start wanting to write and what made you start pursuing the craziness that is the writing world?
Well, I mean, I think I just fell in love with reading when I was probably about 10, it was 11. So around that time, I was reading the young classics. So Count of Monte Cristo, Diary of Anne Frank, and I just loved reading. And I never counted, but probably too many books each year, staying up late. But it was really kind of, in 2021, unfortunately, so my husband and I, have one child already, 4 years old, and unfortunately, had a miscarriage. And I just kind of was, soul searching and decided that, okay, let's channel some of this energy right now. And I've been following Laura France, and all of a sudden I found Jaime Jo Wright, and she was creating classes. And I thought, well, let's just start here. And that kind of opened a whole new world to me. I met some great people in that first class. We were the Raven class.
Yes, you were.
And it just really made me feel that I was on the right path. And lo and behold, I kind of think that God was happy that I was doing that, because then also that January I found out I was pregnant again.
Yes. Yes.
So
And that was really exciting too. I remember you announcing that. I was like, yes.
Yeah. So there's a seasonality and a timing to all this, because to go back to your original question, I probably want to be a writer since I was 15.
Yeah.
But I always felt that I knew things, but I felt like that I needed to live a little more and learn a little more. So I still have some of my notebooks and little scribbles from back then, and it's quite amusing to read it now.
Isn't that the case with all writers? I still have my I actually just ran across it today. My first book that I ever wrote. It's really scary. Not in a good way scary. Like scary as in, what is that? Like, hide it back in the box. Go away.
Oh, I mean, the first one, I think I was sharing it with other eighth grade girls and they loved it. But, to eighth grade girls,
Oh,
preteen girls, romance it's a little sappy and sad, but they enjoyed it.
oh, that's funny. Yeah, the whole romance. I remember my friend used to come over. I'm like, I need to send her like a card and a gift card, because she would come over and I would literally make her, I shouldn't say make her, but I would, yeah, pretty much. My forceful personality was the type like, you're going to sit down and we're going to read everything that I've written since the last time that I saw you. And she would sit there so patiently while I would read her these stories of yeah, like childhood romance and these weird. I had a story about animals in a forest that were trying to save it from loggers
Hey,
and just like random stuff. So anyway, yeah, I get what you're saying. The journey
yeah,
of writing is a trip.
it is. And, still embarking, I wrote a little blog for Donna Shatlatter, and I said, I still feel like I'm at the beginning of my journey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's funny too, though. I feel the same way. It's really funny. Like you're like, you said just a few seconds ago, you're like, I was following Laura France. I'm like, oh, Laura France. And then you're like,
Oh,
and then I ran across somebody like Jaime Jo Wright, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's a downgrade.
oh, no.
But that's how you feel, when you're in your writing career. I think everywhere you're at, you always feel as though you're still pushing through and learning, which by the way, I'm interviewing Laura in about an hour and a half for her next book for the podcast. So you and Laura are being on the podcast interviewed on the same day. How's that?
Oh my God. Karma.
Oh, funny. So, okay. So if you're talking to other people in your shoes and people who are wanting to pursue writing or pursue a dream that maybe God's put on their heart or just one that they've had, what's some advice and thoughts that you would have in your infinite wisdom, Kendall? Share it with us.
Infinite, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I would say that you have to be gentle with yourself too. Because we all have very busy lives. Um, but just keep going at it, even if it's just a sentence a day.
Mm-hmm.
At least you're getting some thoughts down, and you never know where maybe the next day, then, oh, I've got a little time to explore that.
Right.
Or as we were kind of discussing earlier, you're going to find inspiration anywhere,
Mm-hmm.
if you're open to it. So just keep at it. And I know that that's not the most profound, but here I am over 15 years later.
Right.
And
Well,
still
and
pursuing it.
yeah, that's so true. And I don't think it has to be profound to be truth. I think
Yeah.
sometimes we look for these like little calendar quotes we can hang on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
But keeping at it is apt. And really, you and I were talking the other day when we were chatting on the phone about all that you were able to accomplish last year in your writing journey while pregnant, while having the infant, and now a beautiful little bouncing baby.
He's 4
Super
months today,
cute.
actually.
Oh, is he? Oh, he's so cute. I love him. But I mean, most people who are writers would see that type of a year with pregnancy and all the stuff that you go through as a year off, so to speak. But yet you pushed through. So tell us a little bit about some of the things that you accomplished in your writing journey.
So let's see. January was the Mad Lit class,
Mm-hmm.
and then February was the West Coast American fiction writer, Christian fiction writers
Mm-hmm.
seminar, and I had a really fun little get together online, of course, with Sarah Sundin and a small group. So that was
Awesome.
amazing because she's
Yep.
another amazing writer.
Yes, she is.
And then later that month was my first time submitting to Sunrise.
Mm-hmm.
And then, gosh, let's see, I submitted to Spark Flash Fiction 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
And then later on, during Harvest, was another submission to Sunrise. And I submitted then to Faith, Hope, and Love's Unpublished Authors Contest, as well as First Impressions.
Right.
So
listen to that, people. For those of you who feel like you can't possibly accomplish anything, that is quite a list of accomplishments. And we were talking too that none of the contests you won.
No.
Correct. And none of your submissions were accepted. So you're still working through and learning through all of that. So what makes you want to keep going then? Like, do you get discouraged, and how does faith maybe,
Oh, I think I can't imagine anybody that doesn't get discouraged if it wants. But yeah, there were certainly some days where it felt like, oh darn. I think I texted you that morning when I heard the news, because I was so hopeful for the second Sunrise. But it's okay, and I'm really eager to see who they actually chose, because I plan on reading those books. to just kind of see.
Yeah.
And you have to, even though, I mean, I've been published in other magazines, but kind of what I'm, wanting to do is do actual novels, and you just keep going. I mean, so for instance, on this year, I'm still going to continue to try for Spark Flash Fiction.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm doing a Christmas novella with a group of other writers. Some that are 20 years into their career, others that are, a little less. And then so I think there's one or two other writers like me that are unpublished.
Okay.
And so I signed a contract. So, I mean, that's for sure. Got to get it done by August.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I'm really excited because at least you never know the opportunities that are going to come up. So even if you've got bad news, each new day is different.
Right.
And, and everyone's process is different. I mean, I see, like, you, what did you have? 2-3 books out last year?
2, I think. Yeah, 2. I had 2.
Okay.
Three's ambitious. I just had 2.
Well, I saw Jody Headland did what? How many? 8 last year?
I stopped keeping track of Jody. I love you, Jody.
Yeah. But, I listened to her podcast with you, and I was thinking that, at the time she said when I had younger children, I had just a word limit of 800 words a day.
Yeah.
And I do have young children. I've got a 4-year-old and a 4-month-old.
Mm-hmm.
And, and I'm partially running my family's business too. So it is what can I do in a day? And also, say, where my husband's not, who's this person? My wife. So, spend time with him.
Exactly.
Too.
Yeah, that's a minor detail we probably shouldn't ignore, our husbands, right?
No, exactly. So, and he, sometimes he gets a little like, why don't you pay attention to me more? But at the same time, he'll be, I'm so proud of you. So, and nothing's, like you said, nothing's been accepted yet, but he's proud of me for pursuing.
Nothing's been accepted yet. And still, by the end of this year, you will be able to call yourself a published author, because you have technically been accepted into a novella collection, which is not a small deal.
Nope, not. And, I'm excited. And I've got, the lead author partnered up lots of writers. So, I mean, that's exciting too. So I have to say the community that I've met is incredible. Good. They're just such generous, sweet people.
That's awesome. I love that. And that, you're so right. I love that with the writing community. Specifically my experience has been with the Christian writing community, but just the support, the non-competition. It's like we're all rooting for each other to succeed. And I love that type of an environment where I'm not a super competitive person. I shouldn't say that. I am a competitive person. I just don't like it because it brings out the ickies in everybody, I say. But yet I still want to win. But yet at the same time, I love being part of a community where you don't have to worry about that. And it's just, getting excited for everybody's successes and being together.
Yeah, I mean, especially, someone like you where you're over 10 years into your career, and Pepper Basham and Mimi Matthews, all of them are rooting on these young writers, and it's really great.
Yeah. But and I think that's one of the things though about being a reader, which is so huge, is we value story, and it's not like you can have too many stories, right? And so, I mean, we all have to be read piles that are, rival the Leaning Tower of Pisa, probably with less stability than Pisa, but and I think that's part of it, is like everybody has something to say in a story form that's worth hearing, and it's exciting. It's exciting to see new authors coming, especially new generations. I mean, I don't want to say that I'm like super old, but I am older than you.
Not by much.
Well, I think I've got at least a decade on you. But anyway, regardless, it's just fun to see the younger generations coming up too that are interested in writing. And especially within the Christian book industry, I think that's going to be really huge to continue to have clean, good ratings, so that like when your daughter's a teenager, my daughter's just becoming a teenager, there's books we can have on our shelves that we're not afraid if they get interested in them, they can open them and they're not going to run into stuff we're like, oh, Don't read that, honey.
Yeah. Well, and it touched my heart. I mean, Lizzie can't even really read yet.
Mhm.
And I showed her the movie The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Mm.
And even before I think I was pregnant with her, I bought this beautiful hardcover with all 6 books.
Oh,
And so and I brought her, and before, when she really liked the movie, I said, all right, I'll go find a picture book that tells the story. And she
yeah.
wants me to read it to her almost every night.
Oh,
And then she found this in my bookshelf, the adult version. And so I said, all right, I'll read you a chapter a night. And that has just warmed my heart, because I think back to when I read it as a 4th grader.
yeah. Right. And she's 4?
And she's 4. I mean,
She's 4.
she's
Well,
not
I know
reading
she's
it.
not
I'm
reading
reading it.
it, but still, that's a lot of reading comprehension at 4 years old to be able to stick with The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Love it.
Well, and I'll say she's not sitting totally still, but she doesn't want me to stop.
All right. That is all right. There's an appeal about Aslan that grabs everybody. Have you ever, this is a complete rabbit trail from our conversation, but have you ever listened to, I forget what it's called. Hold on. It's coming to me. Focus on the family theater. They do audio drama.
Oh, no, I haven't.
Oh my gosh, it's the best. They do an audio drama for every single book in
Ooh,
the Chronicles of Narnia.
okay.
And it's professionally done. Like, some of the actors on there are people that play on Broadway. And the narrator is the grandson of C.S. Lewis.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
my husband and I we used to go out to Montana every year, and it'd be like a 24-hour straight drive, because we were crazy like that, and you just drive straight through, right? And
Mm-hmm.
we would listen to these, and we would have probably 30 some hours worth of Narnia, and we would get through all 6 books on our trip.
Oh.
And every year we would do this as adults, because they are just that good.
Oh, yeah. And the books that Patty Callahan is writing, where she
Yeah.
takes a piece of it, those are so good too. But yeah, I want to read more of other things that C.S. Lewis wrote.
Yeah. Yeah. Screw Tape Letters is really screwy, but that's a really good one. It's
Okay.
it's like a really weird one. It's because it's from the perspective of, I believe it's I don't know if he calls him Satan, but it's basically the devil and a demon, and how they're working really hard to get this person to make mistakes. And
Hmm.
it's from their point of view. It's from evil's point of view, and it's just a really twisted, interesting book. It's not creepy. It's
Okay.
just you start seeing how lies can be deceptive.
Yeah. Okay. I'll check
Um,
that
yeah, it's really interesting. So anyway, welcome everybody to Madlet Musings and Rabbit Trails.
out.
It's a special episode where we talk about everything under the sun.
Yep. Hey,
Oh,
that's what keeps life going.
right, exactly. So Kendall, before we close up today, what would you say to other writers in your shoes who go through a year and get several rejections and get their work critiqued by another writer or whatever, and it comes back without the glowing reports and the glitter and the confetti? What would you say to them to encourage them?
I would say continue to read. Certainly read the things that you want to write, but be open too, because you'll never know what niche you're going to find yourself in.
Mm.
Where, and you and I have talked about how
Mhm.
you do dual time, and that way, and there was really no one else doing what you were doing.
Right.
Um, and so it's continuing on, it's reading, and just keep a bunch of storylines going, because then maybe you start patchworking it like a quilt together.
Mhm.
But just don't give up,
Yeah.
because writing writing is never going to just be one thing.
Mm.
um, and because also tastes have changed, and people have evolved a little bit, and it's such a wonderful journey to read a good book.
It is.
um, and even if you may not think that millions of people like it, there's going to be somebody that it just warms their day.
Yeah,
So just keep that in mind.
absolutely. I think those are great words to end with, because, yeah, I have nothing to add. Those are great words to end with. I did the because, and then I'm like, I have no because. You summed it up well. So, Kendall, if people want to follow someone who's going to be coming out with a book around Christmas time as part of a
Mhm.
novella collection, I know you're just getting started, but how's the best way for people to find you right now?
Right now, Instagram is the better place. I'm usually on that at least once a day. Author Kendall Hoxsey, and just so you, Hoxsey, since my maiden last name's a little tricky.
Yeah,
Um, my married name is even more tricky.
I'll attest to that.
Yeah. But hopefully it is on my to-do list this first quarter to get a newsletter out. So
Mhm.
be
Sounds
on the
good.
lookout.
Awesome. Sounds great. So yeah, check out Kendall Hoxey at Instagram and follow her there. And then we will continue to follow your journey. And I'm super excited for you. I just think this is so fun to see what God is doing in your life. So thanks for
Thank you,
being with
Jamie.
us.
Yep. Thank you.